This is Charter Local Edition. I'm Brad Pomerance. We're joined today by Karen Schatzle. She is a prosecutor in Orange County, and she is seeking a seat on the Orange County Superior Court. It's judge number 48, if I may say. And I wanted to bring you on to talk about the act of running for judge. It doesn't feel natural to me. You run for city council, you run for state assembly, for Congress, but in California, while some folks are appointed by the governor, oftentimes, most often, you run for office.
That's correct. And it does feel unnatural to me also,
Right.
yes. It's to me, this is something that I've chosen to do out of principle.
Right.
I've been a DA now over 23 years. Primarily, I've been focused on prosecuting sex offenders and child
Right.
molesters.
And talk to me about what that experience would do for you, presuming victory and you joining the bench.
Well, presuming victory, that experience, it's my life experience really,
Right.
that I think, in my opinion, would make me a very good judge, because I've been exposed to the system for 20 years. I was
Right.
in law enforcement. I was one of the youngest probation officers in Orange
Oh, really?
County.
Before you were a lawyer, you were a probation officer?
Yes, I worked full time, went to school at night, had 2 kids in law school.
Oh, my.
Was pregnant with my 3rd child when I sat for and passed
Come
the bar
on.
exam.
If I've taken the bar, I know how pregnant. If I may ask, how pregnant were you?
I was about 5 months
That's pregnant.
Yes.
That's pregnant.
But I was
Right.
pregnant all through law school. I had 2 kids during break, October and November and December breaks in law school. And then I was pregnant with my 3rd child.
Right.
That one was not planned. I was
Okay, it's
studying
all
for
good. They're blessings. They're
Yes,
blessings.
they are. Very much so.
And so what made you decide to look toward the bench? Because look, obviously 23 years as a DA, I think you said.
Yes.
Very successful career.
Yes.
In an area, while difficult, surely gratifying.
Absolutely.
So it's a big step.
You know what? I was watching what was going on in our system, and what I saw, unfortunately, was something I did not like. It is a situation where individuals kind of come together and formulate a plan to make sure certain individuals get elected and remain on the bench regardless of their conduct once they're on the bench.
And let's talk about that, because what we're discussing is in the public record.
Absolutely.
So this is not innuendo. It is a fact that your opponent
Yes.
has been censured by the state of California before the Commission on Judicial Performance.
That's correct. And censure is the most severe discipline prior to being removed, and in my opinion, he should have been removed.
And this judge, who is your opponent, was found to have done what?
A number of violations. Judges are mandated to follow judicial canons. Basically, there's 6 canons with subsections. If you want to put them all together, it's basically do what's right.
Right. Yeah.
You know,
I remember ethics in law school,
Right.
and you remember what was it? MBRE.
Yes.
You have to take the ethics exam. And it's
Yes.
like, if you walk into a store, should you steal this? Yes
no,
or no?
Right. Yes or no. The
Right.
answer would be no.
Yeah.
For those of you who don't
Right.
know, well, this would be similar. It's kind of unfortunate that you have to have the ethics in writing,
Right.
but based on these types of situations, this is why we need it. Multiple violations, among which one was he allowed his best friend to appear in front of him,
Okay.
which he should have recused himself. He didn't. Others where he did recuse himself, there's a policy in place. When you recuse yourself from a case, it goes back to our presiding judge.
Sure.
And our presiding judge then reassigns it to a neutral judge
Right.
for the hearing. So then he would recuse himself, but rather than go through our presiding judge, he would send it to where he wanted the case to go. And then my favorite is he was also an adjunct professor at the same time at Chapman University. He invited his students to come and watch the court process.
Which does sound interesting.
Right.
But
But he ended up having sexual relations with 2 of his interns. And then he wrote a letter of recommendation to the district attorney, my elected official, who is now endorsing him for this position, knowing that he has been censured. He had sexual relations with, what he's admitted to, let's put it that
Please.
way. What he admitted to was having sexual relations with at least 2 different women at different times, not a threesome or anything like that. During open court hours and after when the courts were closed. So he had sex
in his chambers.
in his chambers.
And these were the interns,
His law students.
his law students.
Yes.
That's serious.
Yes, it is.
That is serious. And so it must be tricky to be running in an atmosphere where you have a judge who has been censored and he's admitted these acts, and you want to talk about it, you want to let the world know, but for whatever reason, it feels like when it's a judicial race, somehow the rules are different. I don't know, maybe not. Who knows?
You know what? The rules are all new to me. This is something that is very new to me, and it's very disheartening because people are doing everything they can to make this go away, kind of sweep it under the rug. He's said he's remorseful, he's contrite.
Right. He was not charged with a criminal act.
No, if you read the censure, it's very specific, and it indicates that once his admission was entered, the preliminary investigation was closed.
Why is that? As a prosecutor, why is that?
Well, I don't want to speculate on behalf of the Attorney General's office because this ended up going to their office.
I understand.
In our office, things are handled differently, so there's probably two separate set of regulations, and I'm not comfortable talking about
That's fair.
our office since my official is clearly opposing my opponent.
Right.
I don't want to.
You still are a deputy DA.
Senior Deputy District Attorney, yes.
And so you're there.
I'm there.
Yeah, you're still prosecuting.
I'm still prosecuting, although it's been very uncomfortable.
I was going to ask.
Yes.
I mean, you're running for a position in which you're appearing. I don't know if you've appeared before your opponent as of late.
No, they won't allow me to.
Okay, and that's fine. But you're appearing before your opponent's colleagues.
Yes.
Some of which I presume have endorsed.
Yes.
And how is that?
Uncomfortable. More uncomfortable is my relationship with the defense bar and some prosecutors. Because the defense bar, he sits up in North Orange County Superior Court, and the North Orange County Bar Association has taken a very active approach in endorsing him, raising money for him. And the lawyers who are actually actively raising funds for him continue to appear before him. And
Is that a violation, in your opinion?
in my opinion, it's unethical. How can you actively raise funds
and then
to
appear? I
and
wonder.
then-
I don't know what the law is. I don't know what the canons say.
Well, I would think that Scott Steiner would want to recuse himself from any type of case where people who are actively raising money for him are appearing before him, and he's negotiating their dispositions on their cases.
So how has it been? Other than the, I'll say, circus-like atmosphere, how has it been for you? You're running for office, you're running for judgeship, putting aside the craziness.
Putting aside the craziness, it's been character strengthening for me. That's how I would see it. It's been a situation where I've gotten to know myself a lot better, and I understand who I am very clearly and what I stand for, and how I won't compromise those principles in order to obtain certain endorsements or order to get myself on the bench.
How's your family doing? How old are these children now?
My children are adults. I have an amazing family.
So, I mean, that must be tricky for them. They understand what's happening.
They feel bad for me.
Right.
But they're very
But proud?
supportive, very proud. They're active.
And you're married, I presume?
I am.
And how's your husband feel?
He's
Is he mortified but proud?
yes, and he's very supportive. He and
Right.
one thing we have in common is that we don't really back down. When people push us, we push back, particularly when it's for the right reasons. And so I've been fortunate that I've had a core of people that are surrounding me that are very much in my corner and support my decision and are proud of what I'm doing. Because I could have taken the easy way out of this.
And remained a DA. You never know what happens. Her name is Karen Schatzle. She is running for Orange County Superior Court. We wish you the best of luck. The election is in June.
On June 7th, it will be decided in the primary.
My name is Brad Pomerance. This is Charter Local Edition.